But Dr. Group joins us for the balance of this hour to talk about solutions. We have them up every couple of weeks. We have been trying to launch this for the last year. We got all of the organic ingredients to do it. So this is part infomercial. We always alert people when we do this every few weeks. But it's also mainly just free info because people need to know how many parasites and other harmful invasive organisms are in the body. Even the government admits 9 out of 10 people are infested with harmful organisms. And we've come up with a new Living Defense harmful organism cleansing dietary supplement, and it is extremely affordable. It is brimming with the capsules. And the way I read the facts, this could do a cleanse for really a family of 4 or 5 people. Dr. Group, let's just get into the product now and then into parasites themselves, what folks really want to hear about in the next segment. But thank you for developing this for InfoWarsLife.com. Tell us about Living Defense and why it's so special.
Well, it's really special because it's part of the problem that we're dealing with today. When the earth becomes sick and the earth soils become acidic and the internal bodies become acidic because of all the toxic food in the air and the beverages that people are consuming, it sets up an environment that's ripe for harmful organisms to live, either on the earth. That's why a lot of the plants are infested with harmful organisms, or inside the body. And years ago, we linked every single disease process to an overgrowth of organisms in the body. And when people hear the word parasite, which the FDA does not like us to use, they actually came down on us and made us take the word parasite off everywhere because we were exposing what the globalists have been doing, spreading these parasites and creating this this environment, which is great for them to live in, for years and years and years, because they know they drain us of energy, they make us sick. So we had to actually change the word parasite to harmful organism. And when we talk about harmful organisms, it's the definition, actually, the medical definition of parasite is any harmful organism that lives off of a host mechanism. Most people just think parasites are worms, but harmful organisms are bacteria, viruses that you can get through flu shots, funguses, yeast. We literally have an epidemic going on right now with molds and fungus and yeast living in everybody's body, worms, bacteria. So any organism that's harmful, that's living off or living in your body, stealing your nutrients, creating an acidic environment, because what we found with the research that was done in the 1920s, 30s, 50s, Royal Raymond Rife, who developed a light microscope, who could actually view organisms at 100,000x, associated and identified organisms with every single disease. And that's when he came up with the Rife machine, which blew back frequencies at these organisms and would blow them up because every organism resonates at a certain frequency. So it wasn't only him, but our scientists, German scientists, they knew the effect that they could initiate inside the body by exposing the earth and exposing everybody to harmful parasites. The bad thing about parasites or harmful organisms is that there really is no medical tests to determine. So you could have a host of symptoms and be misdiagnosed by doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor.
Well, stay there. Let's talk about it when we come back. What is the best testing for parasites is one of the questions we'll go over. What are some of the most common parasites that people suffer from? We'll look at those little guys. And then we'll look at one of the most deadly parasites known, Hillary Clinton, or harmful invasive organism from Mars. We'll be back. Stay with us. Now, the Wonder Man, or the Aquaman of supplements, Dr. Edward Group, joins us. He just summoned 3 giant whales. But getting serious, Aqualad, actually. You're Aquaman, I'm Aqualad here today. I can't just tease Leanne. We got to tease ourselves, too. Getting serious about parasites. This is something that I heard about over a decade ago. I didn't really believe. I did one of these cleanses or invasive organism or harmful organism cleanses. It really hurt a lot, but it did do a lot. With this was not painful like some other cleanses I've done. The product is available at InfoWarsLife.com. Harmful organism cleansing, Living Defense. First tell folks, then I'm going to quit plugging the product and get into parasites themselves, what's in it. Because I've always read and heard that just one of the ingredients Black walnuts, is really good at flushing parasites, and that animals out in the fields eat them and stuff to naturally do this. So we do cleanses on our dogs, our cats, our horses, our cows. Why not us?
Well, because they don't want you to know about that you need to do a parasite or a harmful organism cleanse. That's the thing. It's so secretive. And when we were doing our research into the root cause of every single disease, there's been plenty of proof. A lot of it's been burned and gotten rid of over the years, that the majority of diseases are caused by some sort of overgrowth of harmful organisms in the body. As a matter of fact, the World Health Organization came out a couple years ago and said 3.5 billion people are infested with intestinal parasites and worms. So the problem that we found is, with cancer patients, for example, we found up over 1 trillion microorganisms harmful in each person's body. We calculated that out, and other scientists have as well. Well, if you have 1 trillion harmful organisms in your body, they all take your nutrients and feed off of you, and then they have to go to the bathroom. And that's where the real problem comes in. First of all, they steal all the good stuff from you, and then second of all, they process it, and then they go to the bathroom inside your system.
So we turn into portable porta potties.
You do, because they secrete formaldehyde, isopropyl alcohol, phenol, very toxic substances that are also endocrine disrupting chemicals and alter the hormone levels in your body as well. So, I mean, parasites live in the food. For example, 1 square inch of sushi can contain over 10,000 parasite larvae.
Good
And
Lord.
how many people do you know out there that eat sushi? So, and
Well,
no
I guess I
doctor's
did until
gonna
I
be
just
able
heard
to-
that.
Yeah, I mean, over 75% of the world's population has at least one type of worm living inside their body.
Have you seen the videos where the worms come out of the pork chops?
Oh, I've seen so many different videos on parasites. There are some colonoscopy videos out there. I mean, a lot of times they find tapeworms, hookworms during routine colonoscopy, and you can go on YouTube and type in colonoscopy worms. There's been tapeworms that they've found that have been 60 feet long, 60 feet long. So it's not just a third world problem. You know, you always hear about, oh, don't go to the third world countries because you're going to get worms and you're going to get parasites. 8 out of 10 children under 12 have pinworms. Adults have pinworms. They spread like wildfire. You know, we live in a toxic environment. Like I said, you can even breathe.
What
these
about what
parasites
cats
in.
carry? I heard some countries like India, half the population has brain worms that causes mass mental illness, and it actually, the parasite in the brain programs you to like the smell of cat urine to keep the cats around, similar to worms that get into caterpillars and program them to go up and be killed by birds to then spread the worms faster. It's like a science fiction movie. In fact, guys,
Right.
people won't believe it. Go to YouTube and type in parasite worms take over caterpillars, and it actually shows it goes to its brain, takes control of it, makes it go to the top of a leaf to be eaten by birds. I mean, this is, why are you against the migrant parasites that want to eat our brains? Why are you against the amoebas that want to eat the brain? Why don't you submit to the amoeba? It has a right to live too, racist.
Because it's all about clearing our brain and raising the consciousness and giving people the solutions
No.
and finding out what's wrong out there.
No,
So
the
that's
amoebas
why-
won't resist you.
That's why everybody
Bring me
needs
more
to
cats.
do intestinal cleansing, liver and gallbladder cleansing, harmful organism cleansing, chemical and heavy metal cleansing, and now you have everything everybody needs, Alex. This is the last part. I mean, yes, there's a lot of other supplements out there, but this is the key. I mean, Hulda Clark, she associated most diseases with the liver fluke. I mean, you can trace everything from migraine headaches to arthritis.
But
Everything.
what's wrong with worms that go into the brain and remote control you? In fact, that's BBC, Associated Press. We just showed an article. I only knew about this a few years ago. My son told me about it. I didn't know there were parasites that literally take control of their host and control you like a robot.
You know what the scary thing is? DARPA and some of the Black Ops organizations have actually been working on artificial intelligent parasites that they can put inside your system.
That's
or
mainstream news. I know they want
parasites.
insects to deliver nanotech. Yeah.
And you can activate certain parasites with frequencies using the HARP technology, using cell phone towers. You can turn them on, you can make them more active, you can turn them off. If you infest the world's population with harmful organisms and you know what frequencies activate those harmful organisms or destroy those harmful organisms, that's exactly what Royal Rife proved. He measured the frequencies and the harmonics of all the organisms and blew back the same frequency and they would explode. But you can also enhance those frequencies or control those organisms with frequencies. And anybody that does have cats or dogs or are around animals all the time, they need to be doing harmful organism cleanses on a regular basis. So that's the reason why I've had so many people that have come to me, thousands and thousands that have said they've gone to 20 different doctors and no doctor can figure out what's wrong with them. And they've all been labeled with some sort of mental illness. It's not that. Parasites can get up in your brain. When they secrete all these chemicals, and then you combine all the chemicals and the toxins from the food you're eating and the heavy metals you're ingesting and all the toxic beverages you're consuming, and you're not cleansing your body, and all these things are congesting your self-healing mechanism and reducing your immune system. This is the answer that we're trying to give to people. It is all about cleansing and changing.
Well, listen, let's go over, because it's not just getting the product, Living Defense, that you develop for InfoWarsLife.com. You talk about eating garlic, raw garlic, pumpkin seeds, pomegranates, beets, carrots, all of which have been traditional to kill parasites. And then you go through some studies. You talk about nutrition supplements, cutting back on raw carbohydrates. I want to go through probiotics, all about it. But tell us, you try to develop Living Defense to be the strongest, safest, focused herbal combination. Now, some of our products obviously don't smell too good. Why does this smell so delicious? Everybody loves it. And tell folks what's in Living Defense at InfoWarsLife.com.
Well, it probably smells good because of the clove. So when we've spent years and tested this formula for years and years and years, and we've chosen the specific herbs to address a wide variety. There's millions of harmful organisms out there. There's some that are more damaging to the body. There's a lot of different worms also as well. So we had to pick different types of herbs that would focus on the most damaging harmful organisms and not only create a hostile environment for those harmful organisms, but also help the body naturally eliminate those harmful organisms. So we chose epazote, which has been used for years. We chose cassia bark. We also wanted to source the cleanest, strongest therapeutic doses. So we looked for organic first. If we couldn't find certified organic sources, the next thing we always do is go to wild crafted in the rainforests, which are, to me, just as good as certified organic because no one's touched those trees or no one's touched those herbs.
Sounds even better.
So, yeah, a lot of times they are even better. So then we put organic clove bud in there. We put wormwood. You know, you can see wormwood. That's why they call it wormwood. Has been used as far back as 1600 BC as a cleansing herb to create a hostile environment for harmful organisms. And then we put a real powerful enzyme blend in because a lot of the harmful organisms out there have adapted over time. And our immune system, our macrophages in our immune system, which are like our Pac-Man, which go in there and chew a lot of these harmful organisms up, these harmful organisms have a layer. It's called a chitin layer. It's a hard layer that they've developed over time to protect themselves from our immune system. So not too many companies out there know that you really need to start breaking down these layers that those organisms, especially different types of yeast and fungus and worms, have developed this protective layer. And so we put a special blend of enzymes in the Living Defense that are designed to chew away and eat at this layer to make them more vulnerable to the herbs that we're using in here. And not only that, but also to the macrophages, your own immune system. So it's really a combination of a lot of different things in the Living Defense that people can use. I recommend doing a 6-week cleanse because as we've studied the life cycle of the majority of harmful organisms, especially different types of worms, From the time that they lay eggs, it takes 6 weeks for them to fully mature into adults. So anybody who's doing a harmful organism cleanse should really do it for a period of 6 weeks. It's one of the easiest cleanses to do, Alex. It's not like the liver cleanse or the intestinal cleanse. I mean, this is a very easy cleanse. All you're doing is just taking capsules twice a day, and that's it. You know, we also recommend looking at some of the dietary changes, trying to avoid sushi, or if you do eat sushi that night, you would want to take 3 capsules when you get home just to kill off or to eliminate any of the larvae that might be in the sushi. So it's really one of the catalysts, most effective programs that we've used and other doctors have used for years and years and years. And it's one of the things that I feel is a vital part. It's a vital component of you getting your health back to where it needs to be. Because a lot of doctors, natural practitioners out there, they do a little bit of cleansing or they prescribe a lot of herbs to everybody. They address the symptoms, but what we're focusing on is the root cause. We're focusing on what the damaging areas are. And I've had people that have turned into vegan and juice all day long every day, and they still have health problems. And I'll ask them, did you do a harmful organism cleanse? Did you cleanse all the harmful organisms out of your body? Because those organisms, you can juice as much as you want, but those harmful organisms are still going to be sucking in all those nutrients from the juice unless you've been able to eliminate those from your body.
Well, humans have been plagued by harmful organisms. It's like we live on a college campus with all the political correct terms, things we have to use. But obviously there are invasive creatures, insects, worms, other families, different types of microbes, amoebas that are out there. And, you know, you can get in Lake Travis every year. Somebody ends up dying when one goes up their nose and eats their brain, you know, replicates in their brain. But I can't call it a parasite. It's a loving sweetie pie. There, that's more politically correct. A migrant. The amoebas migrate into the brain. Obviously, something like this isn't going to help you with that. But I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think you should cleanse your intestines, folks. Keep the parasites. Every culture throughout history has tried to do cleanses to get parasites out of their bodies. And the West is better off on average than third world countries where, what I've read, mainline news, most adults have really bad parasites and just accept it. There's still a lot of parasites here. And I know that I'm going to start taking Living Defense as recommended because everything else that doctor groups develop for InfoWarsLife.com, whether it's the Deep Cleanse or whether it's the Oxy Powder or whether it's the Liver Shield or whether it's Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2, all of it has been amazing. And what's good on top of it is you're funding a hardcore liberty-based operation that promotes freedom. So InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And again, I don't plug every segment like other talk show hosts do. I'm not knocking it. Radio has to do it. Radio's in trouble. The economy's in trouble. We just every other week or so do a 30-minute infomercial and are open about it and fund ourselves. And we recommend radio stations out there get your own high-quality products and start doing this with your local shows. This is the game changer. Michael Zwirling's here. He's got 2 stations in the central area of California, 2 big ones. One goes into San Francisco. And he trailblazed stations 20 years ago, self-funding by selling their own products. And he's doing better than ever when his competition's going out of business, some of the biggest stations in California. So I'm thinking about becoming a consultant for free and maybe writing a handbook up for stations and try to give them tips. Because it's not enough to get ratings nowadays. The economy's in so much trouble. So it's a win-win to buy the product. It's available on InfoWarsLife.com, Living Defense, and it is an introductory rollout. It will sell out. It'll be next year till we get more. Dr. Group, shifting gears, in other countries, they obsess over parasite cleanses like Japan, other developed nations. Here, I never heard anything about this until I started hanging around with some more wealthy people that are into health conscious. And they said, you've never gone to the doctor and had your blood tested for parasites? Just because they can, see what toxins the parasites put off and tell you what types you've got. And then they were showing me like photos of what their kids had and what they had. And it was just crazy. And they were going to MDs. So we can criticize MDs here. They're not really bad in most cases. They're just compartmentalized. But am I wrong in saying more and more MDs are aware of this, and there's a growing market in MD science as well, identifying the fact that parasites and also funguses, things like that, are yeast are just absolutely infesting us?
Yeah, yeast is one of the things that's really going rampant right now, in mold and candida. I mean, but then you have strange parasites like Morgellons too, where people are having these strings basically growing out of their skin. But you have to remember that, let's say, some of the more common symptoms of parasite would be abdominal pain, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, gas, bloating, loose stools. A lot of skin conditions, rashes on the skin are associated with harmful organisms, stomach pain, weight gain. Weight gain, unexplained, is a lot of times associated with parasites, depression, stress, anxiety. So a lot of these symptoms, people go to the doctor's office, and what is the standard doctor going to do?
Prozac.
They're going to prescribe them medications. They want people hooked on medications. They're not going to link all these symptoms to parasites. Why? I don't know. We did, because we looked at the root cause of everything, which was toxicity in the body.
Hold on. Do 5 more minutes with us. All right, let's go ahead now in the last 3 minutes we have. Dr. Group, I want to shift gears out of the latest product, years in development. You've had your own private clinic developing this for your patients. Obviously now it's available to the general public via InfoWarsLife.com. Living Defense, harmful organism cleansing dietary supplement, 120 big capsules. So what is the best way to take this? How should you take this?
Well, the best way is 3 capsules 2 times daily, 2 to 3 capsules 2 times daily for 6 weeks. That seems to be the best, for us to get the best results with that. I will say that some people may experience a healing crisis. Whenever you start eliminating some of these harmful organisms, or they start breaking open, you can have these dead organisms inside your body, and they can start to decay or be in there for a little while until your immune system can flush them out. So it's really good to drink a lot of extra water, exercise, get your blood moving, and push all those out. I also recommend that people do intestinal cleansing on a regular basis, liver and gallbladder cleansing. But all in all, it's results driven. I mean, we all have to understand that we live in a world where we're exposed to parasites all the time.
Yeah, I'm almost scared to do it. I did a partial one.
But it's not that bad. Trust me. I mean, the liver cleanse is probably the hardest out of all the cleanses.
And it's easy for me. It was easy for me. Yeah.
99% of the people, when they do a harmful organism cleanse, maybe for the first few days, they might be a little lethargic. But after that, they're able to slowly eliminate, and their immune system starts to be built back up, and they naturally get rid of these things.
Why are you racist against pinworms, hookworms, tapeworms, amoebas, and other things? Why were you raised a bigot? You should accept it.
Well, the thing is, there are good organisms too that live in our bodies, and that's, it's always the fight against good and bad, right? So you want to have as many good organisms in your body.
What are some of the good things?
All your probiotics, your biodome inside your intestinal lining. Those are going to be all, that's your first exposure point, like we've talked about.
Now, that's the extremists that have to be dealt with, right? That's the terrorists, you mean?
Yeah, what we want to do is we want to have the good organisms in our body fighting against the bad organisms in our body. It's weird. We have the same scenario in our lives, but we also
look at the environment. Look at a forest. Look at a desert. It's all got that balance of stuff going on in it. Dr. Group, globalhealingcenter.com. Thank you so much for all your great work.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.